Hey, thanks for tuning in this week. Got a little bit of a tough subject this week. It's a little bit of a sensitive one, but I felt it important to get it out there just to bring about a better understanding of what drives these people to do these things. Yeah, what am I talking about? In August 5th, 2012, Wade Michael Page walked into a Sikh temple in Oak Creek, Wisconsin, opened fire, killed 6 people and wounded 4 others. He was shot in the stomach and then he turned the pistol on himself and killed himself. Why do I want to talk about him in particular? It's because I knew him. He was a member of the same gang that I was in. He was a member of the Confederate chapter in America, and I was a member of the Southern Cross chapter in Australia. I had met Wade personally. I traveled to the United States in 2011 and spent a weekend with the Confederates, including Wade. And I hung out with him and his band members. They did a little impromptu gig for me in their house because I was an invited guest of the gang, to America. So it was a big deal for them. It wasn't a big deal for me, especially after being there for a couple of days and seeing how these guys really were. I wanted to get out of there so bad. I ended up with food poisoning and thankfully got out of there pretty quickly. But I did get to talk to Wade a fair bit on that weekend. He was a prospect. And of course, as a prospect, he got treated like crap. More so by these guys, than what we considered fair. I didn't treat him that way. I talked to him and he seemed like an okay guy, that okay, he's one of these guys who's confused. He's so brainwashed in this whole belief system. I could see him conflicting. You could see it in his eyes. A lot of the time he just didn't want to be there, but he felt like he had no other life, He just, again, dealing with mental health issues all his life, I guess. I'm not sure. We never really went into it. I know he was a heavy alcoholic, which is generally a sign of serious mental health issues to begin with. I kept in touch with him over the next few months until I quit. And then, of course, I was put on ban. No one wanted to talk to me, which is great for me. I didn't want to talk to anyone. Wade did message me a couple of times after to see how I was, and he said to me, you took the time to be nice to me and talk to me, and I really respected you for that. I'm like, cool. So a year later, I was in Vegas and I was sitting in my friend's tattoo shop and we're watching this unfold about the shooting in Oak Creek. A couple hours later, a suspected shooter's photo was flashed up on the screen and I instantly recognized him. And my heart sank and my stomach sank. And I instantly felt so sick and disgusted that someone could do that for a start. And that someone I knew could do that. To this day, I still can't fathom it. I read a lot about the incident and what he did, and no one knows what drove him to it. Well, that's what all the media will say. No one knows what drove him to it. But I have a pretty good idea, because what drove him to it is the same thing that's going to drive many of them to do the same thing. And I saw it repeated again. March 15th, 2020, in my hometown of Christchurch, New Zealand, a terrorist walked into a mosque, the Al Noor Mosque, and killed 51 people, including women and children. And I was there that day. I was watching everything unfold, and all I could think about was Wade and what he did. And I knew instantly, I recognized in this what was going on, and I said, this is a white supremacist. He has been brainwashed into this doctrine. I know it. And I was right. And that person, who I'm not going to name, because he doesn't need to even exist. He's so far gone. He is so brainwashed to get to that point. Now, he wasn't finished either. And I know that his plan, his ultimate plan, was to go out like Wade did, in a blaze of glory, to become a martyr for the white race. This guy in Christchurch, his plan, he was actually going to hit another mosque. Police intercepted him and he had explosives in his car. He would have blown himself up or had a shootout with the police. one way or another. He didn't intend to be arrested, so now he's suffering in jail, and there are better places for him, trust me. So what drove them to it? What's it about? As I've said many times, you become brainwashed. You become brainwashed into this doctrine so much because it's an enclosed world. They all hang out together. They don't really have friends outside of their group circle. They don't really have friends. That's why they're there in the first place. They find kindred spirits of hate, and they all flock together and they stick within each other, and they whip themselves up into just these wicked states, talking about what they're going to do, and they idolize all these people. Like, I can't remember the guy's name, the guy in Norway who killed, I think it was about 90 people on an island. He was anti-Muslim. They idolize this guy and they want to be like him. And the first time I ever heard it was two of my gang brothers talking about it one night, as it was ultimate end game. And I was like, what am I hearing? I don't understand this. But basically, they believe that when shit gets bad for them personally, or for whatever, if the world starts getting really bad and they want to take themselves out, they're not going to do it themselves. They're going to become martyrs and go and take out as many people as they can and die by fire, whether it be from police or whatever. And they're seen as heroes for doing that. And meanwhile, lives are lost, families are destroyed, all for what? For a fervent belief that you're superior to someone. You're not. Not at all. And if you were, you wouldn't need to do that to prove your point. It's hatred. That's all it is, and hatred serves no one in a positive way. I'm so grateful that I only spent a few years with these guys. I didn't become fully indoctrinated. Sure, it took me a couple of years of deprogramming myself and focusing on love and peace and kindness and compassion and apathy. Wade's band was called End Apathy. That's how far gone he was. He believed that even things like apathy and compassion were weakness, and it wasn't for them. But if someone showed them compassion and they showed it in return, their lives would change. As someone did for me, Beth, my friend, who showed me compassion and love, it changed my life. It changed everything. I don't want to talk too much about these guys and their acts. That's not the point of this video. I just want to bring attention to what they do, especially because there are still guys in those gangs that will carry this out. I've seen it. I was a part of that world. And if I can just bring awareness, because none of these guys ever will, I guarantee it, none of these guys in the gangs, none of these guys who left aren't ever going to talk about it. There are a couple of guys, Byron Widner, I'm not sure if I got his name right, who was a member of volksfront, who now openly talks about his life and how he got away from it. And there's a couple others, I will put their names in, because there's a guy who does a lot of good to help people out of these scenes, out of the gangs and everything. So I'm going to link all that in the description below. It's a bit of an emotional video for me this week. As I said, it's been really hard for me to make this. It's been very emotional, but I just, like I said, I felt the need to really get it out there. No BS, and just pour my heart out and talk about these guys in the hopes that we can just bring awareness to what's going on and maybe change their outlook on life, because hating people, it just burns you up at the end of the day. You want to know why you feel so bad all the time, why life never goes great? It's because you're hating, and you're hating yourself more than everyone else. But you project your own hatred of yourself onto others. Stop doing that. Start loving yourself. Love is the ultimate. It's not power. It's not being greater. Because if you want to be great, love. Love is great. Love is always going to win over hatred, always. It absolutely did for me. And I tell you what, if I could talk to Wade now, before he even attempted that, I would change him. I would work so hard to change him. If I knew he was going to head that direction, I would do everything in my power to show him that there is a better way. And especially, he targeted a Sikh temple. The Sikhs are the most loving, caring, beautiful people around. They will never harm anyone. And the hardest thing for me last year, one of my idols, Ryan Hurst, the actor, Opie, who is a Sikh, posted in memoriam of that August the 5th Oak Creek tragedy. It brought me to tears and it broke my fucking heart. And I know I'm not responsible for any of what he did, but I feel in some way responsible for bringing it out there, putting it out there in hopes that we can stop it again from happening. It's just wrong in so many ways, and too many people have lost lives and lost friends and lost loved ones, all because someone hated themselves more than anything. And that's not fucking right. And hey, if you know someone who is even thinking about getting into that scene, if they're showing signs and the signs are there, easy to spot, you know, if you need to know how to spot the signs, let me know, I'll make a video about it. Because these guys hide in the shadows. They're cowards because of that hatred for themselves. If they're shown that they can love themselves and they can love others, maybe things will change, maybe not, I don't know, but it's worth a fucking try. You know, and one person can make a difference. One person can always make a difference. Two people can make a difference. And the more people making a difference out there is gonna change our world. I firmly believe that. You know, we don't need hatred. We need love. And that's all I'm about. But I'm gonna end it on that. I'm kind of at a loss for words, you know, and I will touch more on this subject. Please feel free in the comments if you have any questions. I'd be more than happy to answer. I will do my best. And if you need help, I will post resources in the description below. If you need help with a friend or a family member who you think may be going down this path, please reach out. I will help in any way I can, because I want to get it out there. I was a part of that scene, I was part of that crew, and I will fucking talk about it. I will talk about the things that need to be put out there in hopes of saving someone one day, even if it's just one person away from that world. So thank you so much for tuning in. I'm gonna leave it at this, but I will see you on Sunday night for another video, and thank you so much. Share the love, always, and peace out.